Welcome everyone to the workshop on how to have successful remote job interviews. Today I am with Maja and Adelina from Upstack, and they will share everything about having happy interviews. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Justine, and thanks everybody for watching and for attending the workshop. Everything is going well here on Upstack side. Thank you for having us.
I am so happy.
Thank you very much for having us. Good to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. So first of all, tell us a bit about Upstack and what do you do?
Okay, so in a nutshell, Upstack is a platform where we vet and accept the world's top 1% of the freelance software engineers. Why do we accept them into our network? Because on the other hand, we have a lot of our clients that are looking to scale up their teams and their products by adding new engineers to it. So we are, let's call it a matchmaker for the freelance engineers that are looking for new projects. So basically, we do the legwork for freelancers in order to find them projects sooner rather than later. And of course, enable our clients to scale up their teams and products with the world's best talent accessible to us. In this way, we, as I said, reduce the legwork, and we do this on behalf of our engineers. I want to say developers, but then I always remember not everybody is a developer in our network.
Yes.
We are actually vetting and accepting the product teams, let's say. Mm-hmm. So everything a team can include product owners, project managers, scrum masters, UI UX designers, QA engineers, site reliability engineers, and obviously developers.
And so tell us about your roles. What do you do at Upstack?
Well, I think I can start by presenting a bit about what we're actually doing at Upstack. We are, both myself and Maja, are part of the Upstack talent team. What we're doing at a talent team, besides being the first point of contact between developers meeting and getting in contact with our platform, we are responsible for the hiring process. So we are doing everything that has to do with interviews, getting developers and of course engineers onto our platform, explaining all about the process, screening everything from the beginning, interviewing them, and of course trying to liaise between both engineers and the client. So we're doing everything that we can to ease the whole process.
Right. And how many job interviews do you make per week?
A few weeks back, my calendar was packed with around 44-ish interviews in 4 days, because I do Fridays, no meetings. Mm-hmm. And then from Monday to Thursday, I have 11 to 12 slots open for interviews. And a few weeks ago, it was overpacked. So around 44 interviews every week. But you know what? This varies. Sometimes our weeks are packed with interviews. Sometimes we are actually doing the asynchronous interviews, where we send pre-recorded video interviews to our candidates. And then we, of course, anticipate their video responses in return in order to, speed up the process, maybe actually try to help the candidates do a little presentation about themselves, even prior to meeting with us. We are, it says here, we are the first point of contact, but what does it actually mean? We not only lead our candidates throughout the whole hiring process and then signing them up into Upstack's network, we are also there always for their support, any queries, questions, everything that comes after, during onboarding or prior to getting them placed on their projects, everything related to payments, whatever support our candidates might need, we are actually the first point of contact for them. We pride ourselves, the whole Upstack core team, we pride ourselves in nurturing these personalized relationships with our network, both with our clients, obviously, as we are in a business of providing service to our clients. On the other hand, we really care for our network, for our community.
Yeah, so basically you know what you're doing. Like, you know about job
Hopefully.
interviews, you know, like you are the person to ask about having great job interviews, right?
Hopefully, Adelina and I are happy to be here today, and we have this intention to share quite a few potentially useful and helpful insights that will actually do some good for people watching this workshop and for people trying to apply the insights in their next job interviews, whether they are remote or on site. These tools that we are going to equip them with might be really helpful, or hopefully will be helpful.
I think they will be. I think they will be.
Thank you.
So tell us a bit, like, I guess you already talked about like the things you are going to talk through the workshop. So I guess we will just go right into the tools and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So Adelina and I decided to split the contents of our workshop into three main parts. The very first part is what can a candidate do prior to having a job interview? And this is exactly what the slide we are watching is about. So what can you guys do to prepare for a job interview and to shine? So here are a few tips. Company research. And when we say do a company research, do your homework, we don't only mean that you go browsing in the company's website, having a look at the careers page, having a look at the job description, but we mean go a little bit even beyond that. I would say that a very useful tip here is to visit the company's LinkedIn profile. Have a look at the people that are already working at the company. Find a friendly face. Find somebody that gives you this conversational vibe and connect with them. When they accept your connection, tell them, hey, let me ask you a few questions about working at Upstack or working at a company. I'm very interested to know. People will be happy to answer those questions. And in this way, the candidate is showing a lot of interest. They're showing they're motivated to have an amazing interview, to be considered for a job, for a role very seriously. So it's always, to me, it's normal to do the homework when you are preparing for an interview. Obviously, you're not just going to show up, hey, I'm here for some kind of interview. But when you go above and beyond, it says millions of interesting things about the person, right? So as I said here in the second point, showcase your interest for the company and how it suits what you're looking for. So interview is not about the interviewer. It's not about the hiring manager. This is your time. So the company you are interviewing with is somebody that you decide that fits what you are looking for. You're looking for a job, and obviously you are not just going to apply for any kind of job at the company. You are going to be looking for companies that fit you, be it their culture, be it friends that work there, be it something that they're posting that's sparking your interest, being the marketing they do, whatever it is, showcase it prepare to showcase your interest to the interviewer. And obviously, emphasize your strongest suits in the interview. Come in strong in the interview and emphasize the strongest suits. Emphasize what is it that makes you jump out from the rest of the candidates.
As my colleague said, Maja, yeah, get totally creative. And of course, be ready to ask your questions. Besides doing your homework in terms of company research and everything, the interviewer will definitely like your questions, because that will be the first point where you can actually get to show interest in the company. So get creative. Mark some questions that might be extremely important and ask them. And again, don't be afraid to be able to put a value on yourself. Financial discussions are always important in terms of when it comes to interviews. So it's very important to know your value. Don't be afraid to showcase your experience and what are your financial expectations, because you're the first person who knows what you're worth. So definitely emphasize on that, and Yeah, definitely get creative is going to happen very good along the interview. It's going to be good.
What are those kinds of questions you love getting at job interviews?
Bear in mind, Justine, we're talking to software engineers. I'm only kidding, but I have to say the engineering mindset is something else, and they
Yeah.
always ask creative questions. And what I love the most is that normally they don't ask this trivial questions. So, what's my salary gonna be like? You know, it's something they're already ready to talk about. And then during the interview, sometimes they actually ask us about our work, our day at Upstack. How do we go by? How do we, as non-technical people, are able to assess somebody who is very technical?
Yes.
You know, and these kind of questions are actually, this is what drives me when it comes to personal development and continuous learning, because engineering mindset, as I said, is really, really something else. So instead of having these, I don't know, structured interviews, I tend to ask people, you know, about their views, and I learn a lot. And for years, it's been like this. So I sometimes turn their questions that they ask me into me asking, you know, sub questions. So we both have great answers and learn from it.
Yeah, because in the end, it's a dialogue, right? In the interviews, it's not just about like, tell me this and this and this. It's also about you learning if the company is the correct one for you, if you like the people that work there, if you like the style, like you can learn all of those things.
Yes, and I was going to point this out, and a job interview is not interviewer's time. However, it's a two-way communication. It's not only interviewer or hiring manager or talent manager interviewing the candidate. It's also the time for the candidate to interview the company. Because
definitely.
The job seekers need to be able to make a decision whether this company is a fit for what they want to do, where they want to be, what they want to do. And as a talent manager, as a hiring manager, you are the very first point of contact, and you are the ambassador of company's culture, of the values, of the environment the job seekers might be coming into when hired.
Yes.
So to me, it's very, very important to present my company and the role and the whole environment and the culture in the best possible way. Every interview I have, I feel like I'm being interviewed.
Yes.
Because it's only fair to the job seekers to, you know, to have this attitude. I want to be open for their questions, and I want to be open to providing them enough information when they're seeking a job or a role.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So now going for the part where everyone gets nervous.
Yes,
the actual interview.
These are actual, you know, takeaway advices. This is actually the toolkit that we are giving to you, and obviously with the best wishes and with hopes that it'll help you. So there are a few trivial bits here, but they are quite important because they are the first impression an interviewer gets from the candidate. So things like getting in on time and ensuring a stable internet connection if the meeting is held online, also looking the part and silencing your phone and putting it away somewhere. This is very trivial, but trust me when I say this, it needs to be emphasized here as well. So these are little things, very, very small bits, but they start painting the picture. They are the contour of the interview. And then as you are starting the interview with the hiring manager or for the hiring manager when they're starting interview for the candidate, I'm trying to be myself everywhere I go. So it's always the best when the candidates are being themselves. It's very obvious when somebody is trying to pretend they are something they're not. It's very visible and it spoils the whole vibe, right? So this is a very wholesome advice for the job seekers. Just be yourself. Yeah, this is your time to shine. You have interviewers' attention. You are a star here. So show us what you're bringing. Show us what you've got, right? obviously, being friendly is the utmost importance. Arrogant attitude and not being open to actually talk about yourself and to the interviewer is not going to take you anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So when you're coming in with a friendly attitude, when the atmosphere in the interview is kind of eased, when it's relaxed, the conversation tend to be of a high quality.
Mm-hmm. And I something we always say is like, the company already wants to talk with you, right? Like you already
Yes.
have the interview. So it's kind of like you're already there. Like they already want to know. So
You're
it's
already
just
halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
So none of us here at Upstack holds the structured interviews. We don't carry around papers and ready questions. We approach the conversation just like that. It's a person that we are meeting and that we want to find out a little bit more about. So it's a conversation, it's a two-way communication, and the friendlier it is, the more relaxed it is, the better for everybody.
Yeah.
Also, one very, very important bit here is not to dodge answering the questions. The interviewer is asking you a question. It's very, very practical to just answer it, whatever the answer is, as long as it's truthful, honest, and to the best of your knowledge. If there is a situation where you are not able to answer the questions because you have never encountered the situation, you are just not equipped to answer the question, admit it. It's okay. It's fine. Life happens. We are not all experienced in the same stuff. We have not all encountered same situations. It's okay. Life is a learning curve. It never ends. So it's fine when you say to the interviewer, I'm not equipped enough to answer your question. This is not the moment for me to assess what you're asking me. Fine. It's really, really fine. I mean, it's not a school exam. You're not going to be graded. And there's literally no wrong answers. There's just wrong attitude. Right? Okay. Adelina, do you want to add to this?
Well, you definitely covered everything up, and we know what we're doing every single day. This is our best way to try to get to know a candidate. And of course, as Justine said as well, you're already there. Try to be as good as possible, and as open as possible. And even if like Maja said, there is no such thing as a wrong answer, and there is not a school exam. Nothing is going to happen. Even if it's going to be just an experience, you still have something to gain out of it. So just enjoy it and get yourself, just try to be as friendly as possible, and it's going to be a great process, I'm sure.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And also I think before, when you mentioned that you have to prepare for the interviews, I think a lot of nervousness from people is because they are not prepared enough. So when you are prepared, you can go to the interview and it's like, like I already know this, or maybe
exactly,
like I read the job opening, like I read everything I know about the company. And so it's basically a matter of like showing that you're interested, that you're good for the position and everything.
And that being said, what we do is also, when the candidates schedule an interview with us, there is an automatic email sent to them that contains a lot of information that's actually very important for the candidates, but it enables us to have a great conversation with people rather than going through this stuff that's already explained in the email. So this email is also doing a great job preparing interviews or candidates for the interviews. I would just like to point out one more thing here that is very important, and it's a very useful advice. Ask the questions. I did mention this before. Adelina mentioned it as well, but I can't stress this enough. Ask your questions. Whatever you want to be answered, ask it. Just ask away.
Yes. And for example, when you mentioned that there are some questions you don't know how to answer, and I know, for example, a lot of people get nervous when they ask, and how much do you want to earn? And they like obviously they have to come prepared, but sometimes we're nervous to just share that. So how can people, for example, if they don't have an answer, because I guess some people are like, well, I have no idea, how can they answer those things without, dodging the question and being, truthful? How, like, what's an answer that they could give?
Well, speaking of financials, and we all know it's probably one of the trickiest bits to talk about in the interview. Here is this person deciding about my destiny, right? So here's this person that I'm seeing for the first time in my life, and I have to say, this is what I want to be earning, right? So if a candidate is not ready at that moment of the interview to give a specific number or a range or what they desire, what they want to be earning, for me, here is a nice way. You can say to the interviewer, look, I really didn't research the market enough. I'm really not sure how does value that I feel is my worth compared to the market at the moment. So can I please come back to you? Is it okay if I come back to you in a day or two? I'll do some research, I'll compose a nice email, and I'll give you this information. Perfect. Because you didn't answer my question, but you didn't dodge it either. You paid attention to it and you promised me an action from you. All I need.
Thanks.
All right, so now we've had a successful job interview, but unfortunately, the interviewer is just not giving you any update. This is never good. So a promise here at Upstack, we give feedback and updates the soonest possible. We are trying to keep the hiring process, everything that we can do in a matter of a few days. So we are doing follow-ups, we are updating our candidates, but this stuff happens. You did your preparation, you did your interview, you were shining bright, and then the interviewer apparently forgot about you.
Yeah.
So the one thing you can do to make the interviewer feel a little bit embarrassed is to send a follow-up email. Hi, hello. We've met a few days ago, remember? I do want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you for the opportunity to present myself to you. I still want to emphasize I'm very interested in a role at your company. Unfortunately, I haven't heard from you in 3 days. Would you please let me know what's going on? Am I able to provide you any more information? Are you able to tell me what's the next step going to be? Anything like that. You are more than allowed and more than encouraged to send a follow-up email. Because we're talking about your future job, maybe.
Yes.
And take into consideration, the hiring managers don't intentionally forget about you. It's just, I said, in the past few weeks, if I'm having 44 interviews in 4 days, a person might slip my attention and I might forget to send an email. I don't do it intentionally. But if you send me a follow-up and you remind me and you embarrass me a bit, I'll make sure that you get an update as soon as possible, right? We are only humans as well.
Yes.
For sure, we are trained, we do the work, and this is something that we are, experienced in, but nobody's perfect. And I'm the first one to admit I make mistakes.
Yeah, totally.
We all do, right? This is how we learn.
Yeah.
Anyway, also you can say to the interviewer you had a pleasant chat, you enjoyed it, and the way they presented the company to you is something you feel would be great to contribute to. The cultural values are in line with what you are looking for. You are very motivated to continue talking to them, etc. And this might just do the trick.
Yes.
Right. So.
Okay, so after all these useful tips that we hope were extremely valuable for your starting of interviews, or why not continuing of process of interviews so far, we definitely hope that you will be encouraged to take in and to acknowledge all these tips. So one of them would be to don't forget to maintain a good mood and openness to talk about yourself. during an interview, it's always important not to pretend to be someone else rather than yourself. Stay focused on what the role means for yourself. What would it mean for your career, for your life? It's always good to emphasize on how important is a career change for you. Maintain a high level of being interested during the whole interview. Don't try to look overly interested, but not also try to not lose your focus along the way. Respect the interviewer in terms of as they're giving their time to you. Try to answer the best way that you can on the questions, of course, and don't forget to ask your questions because your time is also important and your questions are also important because you have to know where you stand in terms of where the company is as values, as career change for you and for your path in life. So
Right. And I think the most useful tip you will take away from today's workshop is one single point. The hiring manager, the interviewer, makes a decision whether they will move you further in the hiring process and whether they will offer you a role based on answering one single question. And that is, would I have a beer with this candidate? Trust me, this is the whole toolkit in one single question.
And well, now we will have some time for you to go and ask questions to Maja and Adelina. They will be at Upstack's booth. They will be in the chat. So ask away anything. As you know, they love answering your questions. They will be up for it. And
sure. Yes, and thank you again for attending, for watching. Thank you in advance for all of your questions. We're looking forward to answering and get in touch.
yes, we will share all the links and everything so that everyone can check them. And again, go check the booth of Upstack. You will find careers there. You will find Maja and Adelina. And thank you so much, both of you. I know this will be super useful for all of the job seekers. So thank you again.
Thanks for having us, Justine.
It was great fun.
Yes, it was very fun. Thanks. Thanks again.